Right now on APSU-TV, a look at the election and voting, how COVID-19 is affecting Greek life, a look into the high school soccer scene, the local Roxy theater renovations, plus Austin Peay sports and more. APSU-TV News starts right now. Good morning, Clarksville, and thanks for joining us. It's Tuesday, November 3rd, and Election Day. I'm Isabella Christenson.
And I'm Justin Pate, alongside Taylor Irons and James Williams. Good morning and welcome. Early voting ended October 29th in Tennessee, and the U.S. election is happening today. The Montgomery County polls have seen a steady flow of citizens coming in to cast their votes. I had a chance to cover this story, and we will take a look at a few others. Voting season is in full swing here at the Montgomery County Election Commission. Lines of waiting people stretch around the building as members of the community are coming to fill out their ballots. But this year's election is proving to be one of a kind, thanks in part to the COVID-19 pandemic. Elizabeth Black, Administrator of Elections for Montgomery County, describes how the pandemic is affecting voting operations.
The biggest thing it's done is it's made us, spread out our operations. So we don't have room for quite as many machines and quite as many people in our building. We have had to do things like everybody gets their own pens and everybody gets like a popsicle stick to push the buttons if they don't want to touch the machines, those kind of things, trying to keep any kind of cross-contamination for voters.
Some may have been worried about voter turnout due to the pandemic, but that was not the case here. Montgomery County citizens have been arriving in droves ever since early voting opened on Wednesday, October 14th.
It's great to see all these individuals coming out here to vote. It's actually statistically a larger number than it has been within the past few years. Having about 3,200 people come out just yesterday alone, that is amazing and magnificent to see.
With voter turnout at a higher rate than normal, APSU Assistant Vice President Carol Clark encourages students to get in on the action as well.
Because voting is such an important part of our government and a way to be an engaged citizen, beginning to do that as a student is a really good way to develop a lifetime habit or a lifetime practice of something that is valuable not only to the individual but to our state, our country, our nation, and beneficial to everybody involved.
Here at APSU TV, we encourage you to mask up, get to the polls, and show Tennessee that Govs vote too.
64% of the people who can vote in America fall into what the Voter Participation Center refers to as the rising American electorate, specifically the groups of young people, people of color, and unmarried women.
One of the biggest commonalities is all of them feel that politics and our government is not representing them.
Tennessee saw a 7-fold increase in the number of 18 to 29-year-olds who turned up to vote in the 2018 midterm election, but the state still ranks 49th in voter turnout. Despite that ranking, Dr. Kevin Barron, Assistant Professor of Political Science at Austin Peay, has seen his students become more politically active.
A lot more young people seem to be both far more aware, so they're more informed, right? They're informed about politics.
However, the rising American electorate also makes up 73% of unregistered voters, so that involvement does not always show up in voter turnout rates.
We could look at other factors like volunteer rates, how many people are volunteering with any type of nonprofit or community-based group.
Voter registration looks promising despite restrictions due to the pandemic. There are many factors to this, but there's one in particular that has sparked a lot of conversation since this past summer.
It always starts with the core group. It's a group that identifies with not having rights or lacking certain representation, lacking a voice, lacking any type of meaningful power. Black Lives Matter is a great example of this.
Dr. Kevin Barron, an associate professor in the political science department at Austin Peay, says that American history has been defined by social movements.
We point to various moments in history because in those moments, the movements sort of come to a head, right? There's an explosion. This summer is a great example of that.
Maurice Stigall, leader and organizer of Black Lives Matter in Clarksville, told me that although he has no agenda, he encourages everyone to know who they are voting for.
I don't care who you vote for, as long as you're exercising that right to vote.
Dr. DeWanna Goldstone, the director of the African American Studies program at Texas State, says that she stresses the importance of voting to her students.
Well, when I talk to my Black students, I remind them of the fact that people literally died for this right to vote.
While nobody was hurt while protesting on Wilma Rudolph, not every day was pretty.
1,000 cars that pass by us every day, one person Black smoking us or throwing a bottle out the window to me, it doesn't equate.
Historically, social movements have increased voter registration. With the reemergence of the Black Lives Matter movement this summer and events in the past few years, voter registration as well as voter turnout is already in an upward trajectory.
2018 midterm was the highest voter turnout for a midterm election in a century. 2018 midterm turnout was just a hair under what the 2016 presidential election turnout was. By comparison, 2014, the previous midterm, the national average for turnout was 38%.
People need to not just vote for whatever they need to vote for each other.
With APSU-TV News, I'm Angela Petterson.
Same-sex marriage was only just admitted in 2015, and now it is up to be taken away. I went around and asked APSU students what they thought.
People's constitutional rights are getting taken away. I think that everyone should have the right to love and marry who they love, because you can't help who you're attracted to.
It is really, really crazy because not only, past rights have been taken away, now this one, and I feel like that is going to make room for a lot of people's rights to be taken away. So it's just very mind-boggling to me what our kind of president has become.
I think it's kind of crazy that they can just take stuff back off that they are rules that they already made, just take them back, because that's concerning for other things too.
I feel like they deserve that freedom regardless of whatever you believe, because your beliefs shouldn't conflict with other people's rights.
It's election season and local elections are on the back burner in the media. It may be due to general lack of knowledge or disinterest, but I recently asked Montgomery County Commissioner Charles Keene to educate APSU-TV News on the difference between the City Council and the County Commission.
City Council districts are within the city limits. County Commission, you have the whole county, but some of the county commissioners are also in the city limits.
Both offer representation and control tax, which funds schools and general quality of life. Local businesses like Ann Vinyl are affected by these decisions, and I asked the owner how he would get involved in local government.
I want to attend the council meetings and actually be involved and know who's saying what, because this is the level that's going to affect us locally more than anything. Like a national election is not going to affect us locally as much as our local election.
A message from commissioners and business owners alike: get involved and vote. Presley Ratliff, APSU-TV News.
The presidential election monopolizes the media, but it is crucial to remember the politics that are happening in your backyard. Clarksville's diversity shines as each candidate of Ward 5 discusses specific issues that they plan to resolve if elected. Jason Knight conducted a community poll which expressed concern for careless drivers who speed through neighborhoods undeterred.
So the general consensus around the community is that they want speed bumps. They want it now, and I'm going to do my best to try to get that done.
Melissa Eldridge focuses on keeping her community safe with her goal to add more sidewalks.
And so the children are actually walking to bus stops in their neighborhoods, and they're having to walk in the road in the same street that motorists are using.
Joey Dassinger wishes to tackle local complications of the war on drugs.
Specifically that I want to go after is trying to pass a resolution to decriminalize marijuana.
Remember to go out and vote for more than just the president on November 3rd.
All right, you guys, today is election day. Don't forget to head out to the polls and vote.
It's time to cast your ballot. Many first-time voters wonder what they should expect at the polls. APSU-TV spoke with Elizabeth Black, Administrator of Elections for Montgomery County.
If it's cold that day, be prepared to maybe have to wait outside, because we're not allowing as many people in at a time to bunch up in the lobby areas. We will have, hand sanitizer for workers. We're going to do when you use a pen, you take a pen. And we will do the popsicle sticks again for folks to use to push the buttons if they choose to do so.
Voters are also reminded to bring their driver's license or passports with them to the polls.
If they have any questions, our poll workers are there to help. They're trained to show them how to work the machine before they ever push any buttons, do any of that kind of stuff, so they don't need to be afraid of that. And they should just expect an efficient experience. You know, we pride ourselves on that and hope to continue it through November for sure.
This is Tip Campbell reporting for APSU-TV News.
COVID-19 has affected many things in society today. Let's take a look into life on the campus of Austin Peay State University.
From in-person classes to athletic schedules, COVID-19 is affecting all things on the campus of Austin Peay State University, including Greek life. Members are required to wear masks when with another member and are encouraged to wear them around anyone other than those that live in their household. Members are not allowed to gather in groups larger than 10 at any time.
I had the chance to speak with some sorority members on how they are participating in Greek life considering the circumstances.
So due to the recent rise in COVID cases, obviously Greek life is not in full swing. We can't meet in groups of 10 or more people. We're required to wear masks on and off campus, as well as our chapter meetings are on Zoom.
These members are taking the proper precautions to continue enjoying Greek life the best they can, although it has altered some of the best experiences sororities offer.
So Greek life, especially over the past few months, has been a little difficult, especially with recruitment. I know it was really hard for us to try and get girls to join an organization that they weren't even going to be able to be a part of, especially for at least the next semester.
For AOPI specifically, from recruitment to Big Little reveal to initiation, a lot was changed around. Specifically with Big Little reveal, we weren't allowed to have it indoors. We had to have it outside in people's trunks of their cars.
Members are also not allowed to gather in their townhouses out of respect for the members that live in them. Just as Greek life is doing, let's remember to wear our masks, Govs. Isabella, Christenson, APSU-TV.
During the pandemic, it's been really difficult for a lot of organizations here on Austin Peay's campus to have events, meet new people, and plan events. Today, we're going to go look at the Baptist Collegiate Ministry and see how they have been planning and having events during this time.
Planning events have been somewhat difficult, just trying to figure out what it is that draws students in this time of just isolation, and how it is easy to just kind of not want to do things or plan things or go to things.
I think it's been kind of fun. It's been a little stressful, just trying to figure out not necessarily what to do, but more so how to do it, because we're so limited on where we can go and like how many people we can have do certain things. So it has been kind of fun, like figuring out new ways to do things that we still do.
Some of our weekly events we still have kept at the same time, but they've been modified. So for example, one of the big things that we do is Refuge, which is a large group worship event. So we've been doing that mostly like outside or in small groups. So it's been good to still have a lot of our normal events, but we've kind of just altered how we've had those.
Every time someone comes into our building, they have to check in, and also just if it's an inside event, we have to take their temperatures and just record that data for ourselves as well.
Going forward, it's just keeping those small groups in mind and how important it is to just let people get to know each other better instead of just slipping in and out of big events.
Leah Kennedy, APSU-TV News.
The Govs Programming Council is one of the 3 governance councils here at Austin Peay State University. This organization embraces and embodies the diversity on campus through a variety of events. Like I stated before, this organization hosts many events on campus. With that being said, here's a look into one of their lunch and learn events that had to do with Black Lives Matter.
Those that are different, how can we tolerate? And to me, does tolerate sound like a positive word? Tolerate is like the same thing as like satisfied. Like satisfied is,
Although the Govs Programming Council enjoyed this event, and so did the students are concerned that some programs and events may take a big lapse because of COVID-19. Here's what they have to say.
To find a motivation to want to get involved. There's so many things are happening. Everybody is stressed. You have one thing after another, and we're just basically trying to get it done.
This semester has been really tough due to COVID-19. Promoting events, trying to talk to people and trying to communicate that it's been really difficult due to the fact that we don't see as many.
All in all, the Govs Program and Council are staying optimistic about what's to come in the near future for all their activities and events on campus. They hope to see all of you students there and remaining positive and being cooperative during this time of COVID-19. Their favorite tagline is as follows.
Austin Peay's Governor's Own Marching Band adapts the COVID-19 precautions for its 2020 marching season at APSU to ensure their music can still be enjoyed thanks to their passion to keep fun and safety top priorities. Director of GOM Marching Band, John Schnettler, explains the changes in this season's performance.
It's impacted us in a significant way. We have a lot of protocols because most of our instruments generate sound by blowing air through them. So the students wear a mask with a slit cut in it while they play, and we have to be a certain distance apart from each other.
While students are expected to maintain social distance in a marching band that doesn't march, they aren't letting it rain on their parade.
Music is an activity where we can all emotionally connect and bond with each other.
Getting through this year has been different because we're now getting through it all together.
Even in uncertainty, the future looks bright for these upbeat musicians and their instructors.
We really don't know. We're just trying to prepare for all scenarios. I do know that the students are very excited about participating in band no matter the scenario. No matter if we're only in the stands, if we're out in the field doing marching, it doesn't matter. They want to be out there doing it, and that makes me really happy.
I'm Olivia Cunningham, APSU-TV News.
Austin Peay's Student Government Association hosted a watch party for the presidential debate in the Clement Auditorium on September 29th. SGA President Kito Aru, a junior majoring in communication, organized the watch party for students to watch the debate and afterwards discuss the debate freely while adhering to CDC guidelines. Aru planned this watch party meeting to bring people together to engage in conversation in a respectful manner, no matter what political views they have.
Basically, we wanted students to, have a space where they can engage, regardless of their political views, and just talk about engage in, what's going on. So watch the actual debate watch party, actually watch the debate.
With the first watch party being a success, the SGA are hoping to host the next upcoming presidential debates with the same purpose of respectful conversation. Those who are interested in attending should contact SGA for more information.
Austin Peay's athletic department is just one of many that have had to cancel their 2020 schedules and start planning out their 2021 seasons. The Govs golf team is looking to build momentum coming off a rough finish at the Auburn Invitational heading into the fall stretch. Men's golf coach Robbie Wilson breaks down how we got to this point during the pandemic.
Prepared to travel and play in 5 events to really having a full fall semester of practice. And as the coach, we set out a goal with those guys pretty early to make it as competitive as possible.
To better understand how the team is staying in form, I caught up with Jordan Rodriguez, a junior on the golf team, to talk about how the team is keeping things interesting during this extended off-season.
Well, for this off-season, we've all been playing together. We've been doing a lot of team competition throughout the semester. Had a Ryder Cup last weekend, which was really fun. And just looking forward to the next season coming in the spring.
Charlie Blunt, the director of golf at Greystone Golf Club, gave me some more insight on how COVID has impacted the golf industry.
Some good things come out of this as far as how you do the events, but we'll see, how it works next year. But for the most part, there's always a way around it, and golf did survive a pandemic, so it was good.
I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I'm excited to see what 2021 has in store. Bobby Stevens, APSU-TV News.
After an interesting 3 games in the 2020 season for Austin Peay football, they now plan to go into their spring season in OVC play. Despite this, many of their student athletes have concerns going forward due to COVID-19.
Biggest concern for me is if we're going to get shut down again and what's going to happen while we're gone over Thanksgiving in December. What's to come after that. That's my biggest concern going into it.
For football players, it has not only changed their daily schedule in terms of football, but it has also changed their daily schedule in terms of how they approach schoolwork on a day-to-day basis.
Well, it's made it a lot
more virtual in the sense that, like, you know, I only have one day that I have one class, and I don't even do any work in class. So I guess all my schoolwork's done, you know, on a laptop laying in bed.
Despite the uncertainty of Ossipee football, the players and coaches are looking to win their second consecutive OVC championship and third within the program's history.
Obviously, those last 3 games didn't go as we planned, but going into conference, I think we have a chance of going back-to-back with another championship.
Even with all the uncertainty that goes into the spring season, the student athletes are looking forward to get the opportunity to play this spring, despite only getting the opportunity to play 3 games this fall. For Austin P Sports News, this is Christian Hunt, Austin P Sports News.
Despite COVID-19, the TSSAA found a way to make high school fall sports happen safely in Tennessee, specifically for women's soccer. Clarksville High and Northeast High were both able to persevere through the tough guidelines and compete for the district championship.
The Clarksville High School Lady Wildcats celebrated their 9th consecutive District 13 championship with a 5-1 win against Northeast High School. Despite missing 2 key players from this evening's match, the Wildcats took care of business. Ellie Wiggins opened the scoring for either team in the 27th minute, which was later followed by a Chloe Look goal that snuck past Amber Kimberly right before halftime. The Lady Eagles will respond quickly in the second half to cut the lead in half, but Clarksville proved to be too much for them to handle. Wiggins shined throughout the game, scoring her 6th and 7th goals on the season. The senior broke down the scoring action and gave her thoughts on her team's continued success. We also caught up with the Lady Eagles coach, Kelly Kozar.
I was really proud of the girls tonight, and we worked on something in practice and every day at practice, and that's the back post run. And we make sure to be there for our teammates no matter what. So my 2 goals tonight were my teammates going to the end line and slotting it back, and then I made that back post run and was able to finish it, thankfully. And they both did a really good job of getting to the end line and doing that and executing that, which is what we practice at.
The game went really, really well. Honestly, this is the first time that we've actually pressured Clarksville so good. We actually scored on them. So we've never played such a close game against Clarksville before. The team has never been as successful as they have been.
Both teams will participate in the Class AAA Region Tournament on October 20th. Clarksville will be host to Mumford as they look to continue their season, and the Lady Eagles will be taking a trip to play Arlington High School. From Clarksville High School, this has been James Williams with APSU News.
Here is a look into how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected our schools and local community.
Sycamore High School is one of the many schools in the world to be affected by COVID. Teachers have been feeling frustrated due to the differences it has caused in schools. No one understands this feeling more than Mrs. White Owl.
It's really hard to do that one-on-one like I'm used to doing. Usually by now I know I can recognize every kid and I know every kid and I can tell you all sorts of things about them. But because of the hybrid system, because of us having to do a virtual part also, I really haven't had a chance to get to know the kids as well as I would have liked to.
One thing COVID has shed some light on is standardized tests. While current head of mathematics department, Ms. Shea Phillips, believes that teachers need to still be held accountable, she also explains why suspending the test would be a good idea.
If you suspend testing, then it gives us about 3 to 5 weeks back into the school year. And so it gives us additional time for teaching and gives us a little bit of time to maybe fill in some of the holes that may or may not have been created through the whole experience with COVID.
Principal Wenning also agreed with Ms. Phillips. I completely agree with suspending state testing this year due to the pandemic. However, if we are required to test students, the results should in no way be used as part of a teacher's evaluation. End quote. While COVID has affected the classroom, safety measures have been put in place to help prevent outbreaks from occurring.
The students come in, they automatically come see me, they get a temperature check. They are to wear masks at all times, unless we are playing. Obviously, we can't wear masks while playing. So they will come into the band room, get a temperature check. They immediately go get their instrument, and they go back outside. We're not going to loiter in the band room. We're not going to stay in the enclosed space. When they're outside, they are to maintain social distancing.
I'm Tre White Owl, APSU-TV News.
The COVID-19 pandemic has caused everyone to adjust to a new normal. Here's an inside look at how Austin P has adjusted to the changes in traditional learning. Many of the faculty members at APSU have had to adjust to a new way of teaching. Angela Stone, a professor in the education department, explains the adjustments she has made.
I've tried, some little video clips and Zoom, but Zoom just doesn't seem to engage students like face-to-face.
Emma Burns, a student at Austin P, has made planning adjustments to cope with virtual learning.
I use my planner a lot. I am a huge to-do list girl, so I set out my priorities and what I need to do for school throughout the week.
Austin P has not only had to adjust to new ways of teaching and learning, but have also had to adjust the availability of Austin P resources.
I have worked with the Office of Distance Education and Learning to try and improve their website, put a lot more information about how to use Zoom, virtual resources. We've worked with the Coronavirus Task Force to make sure that all students have access to internet, and if they don't, that there are ways to get them access.
Virtual education has been a new challenge for everyone involved, but Austin P has ensured that all efforts are being made towards a successful transition. Hannah Eden, APSU-TV.
Our Clarksville landmark will be getting a little TLC with some major improvements. Clarksville City Council approved more funding for the new Performing Arts Center. The community will be getting a new and improved Roxy Regional Theater, but it's been a long time coming.
It's been going on the entirety that I've been here. I almost want to say from the time that the building was purchased back in 1983.
While a lot may change about the Roxy, the most iconic elements of the building won't likely be going anywhere.
The front of the theater on Franklin Street and then the First Street side have been deemed historic by the state of Tennessee.
The iconic look of the outside may not be changing much, but the inside may be unrecognizable.
A majority of what is the interior of the Roxy right now will go away, because we're looking at a basement level, 3 floors, and hopefully some sort of rooftop terrace.
In addition to the musicals and plays that are put on by the Roxy, it has also been a school for young people looking to get into acting. This year, they started to offer classes to adults as well.
Yeah, we have had some adults sign up. You know, just because you're past the age of 18 doesn't mean that you can, you have to stop learning.
Most excitingly, you may be able to get back downtown to catch a live performance soon.
We are trying to keep our staff and our actors as safe as we possibly can. I mean, fingers crossed, January.
I can't wait for season 38 for great live performances at the Roxy. This is Bradley Bader, APSU-TV News.
I'm Paul Michael with Schuhart, and I've had the special opportunity to interview some of the local people here in Clarksville.
Well, we kind of opened the shop right when COVID was, first started.
Our brick and mortar gallery, we don't have as many visitors, and we do not open as often as we used to open before the pandemic.
Just try to make sure that, we've got this air purifier thing going that's working really well, and we just try to keep everything wiped down, and most of our customers really do come, they respect the mask thing.
Full kind of COVID-19 regulation and disclosure form. We are asking patrons to wear masks upon entry into the building and also while they're in the auditorium watching that movie or any productions that we may do in the future. We're going to keep that mask regulation. We're also taking temperatures of our patrons that come in for those film series. And then each week we partner with ServPro of Clarksville to come in and completely disinfect the building.
The presence of art in a society, in a community, I believe is truly essential.
I learned a lot about downtown Clarksville. I bet you go and swing on by. You'll learn something about it too.
That's all for this edition of your Govs News Update.
Be sure to join us in the interaction by liking us on Facebook at APSU-TV Clarksville and Instagram at APSU_TV.
Thanks for watching another edition of your Gov News Update. Have a good week, and as always, let's go P.